spent over $300 million chasing a dream that the world said was impossible. He mortgaged his most valuable asset not once, but twice just to stay in the game. He gave away fortunes that would make most CEOs faint. And when the dust settled, Michael Jackson didn't just survive. He became the most commercially dominant artist in the history of recorded music. But here's what nobody tells you: every crown he wore had a price tag most men would never pay. Stay with us, because by the time we reach #1 on this list, you will never look at Michael Jackson the same way again. Number 10. The Motown childhood he never got to live before Michael Jackson ever wrote a check. He paid with something money can't buy back his childhood. Most people know Michael started performing with the Jackson 5 before he was 10 years old. What most people don't know is what that actually cost him financially and psychologically in ways that shaped every business decision he made for the rest of his life. Joe Jackson, his father and manager, controlled every dollar the Jackson 5 earned during their Motown years. The boys received allowances, small, controlled amounts, while their performances generated millions for the label and for Joe's management operation. Michael, even as the star of the group, had no financial autonomy. None. He couldn't spend his own money without permission. He couldn't negotiate. He couldn't walk away. But here's the layer most people miss. That powerlessness, that experience of watching adults profit from his talent, what had no control, became the fire that drove every future financial sacrifice he made. He swore he would never be financially powerless again. And that oath, it cost him everything. When the Jackson 5 left Motown for Epic Records in 1975, the family allegedly walked away from royalties they were owed. Legal battles followed. Money was lost. Michael watched his family fight over crumbs while the machine kept spinning. He was barely a teenager, and he was already learning that the music industry was a battlefield, and that you either owned the weapons or you became the casualty. The financial sacrifice of his childhood didn't just shape his career, it built the obsession that would define him. By the time he was 20, Michael Jackson wasn't just an artist, he was a man on a mission, and that mission was going to cost him more than anyone could have predicted. Number 9. The off-the-wall gamble nobody talks about. By 1978, Michael Jackson was a star, but he wasn't the star. He was still being packaged and sold as a member of the Jacksons, still fighting for creative control, still watching others make decisions about his art and his money. Then came the conversation that changed everything. Michael partnered with Quincy Jones to create Off the Wall, but the financial story behind that partnership is almost never told. Michael invested emotionally and creatively in that project at a level that put him at odds with the people around him. He demanded more recording time. He demanded more takes. He demanded perfection in the studio, and studio time is not free. Epic Records covered costs, but Michael's insistence on quality repeatedly pushed budgets past comfortable limits. His management had to navigate tense conversations about spending. Michael didn't care. He believed the record would earn back every dollar. And he was right. Off the Wall went on to sell over 20 million copies worldwide. But here's the sacrifice that mattered most. When Off the Wall was snubbed at the Grammy Awards, receiving only one nomination, despite being one of the best-selling albums of the year, Michael didn't just feel hurt. He made a vow. He told Quincy Jones they were going to make the greatest album ever recorded. That ambition had a price tag, and that price tag had a name. It was called Thriller. The financial and emotional investment he poured into Off the Wall, the public humiliation of the Grammy snub, the refusal to accept anything less than total dominance, that was the sacrifice that lit the fuse. And what comes next on this list will show you just how explosive that fuse turned out to be.
If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update, and the real stories behind the music that built the world we live in. Don't miss the next one. We will see you there. Back to the countdown.
Number 8. Funding Thriller out of his own belief. When Michael Jackson walked into the studio to make Thriller in 1982, the budget was already set. Epic Records had allocated what they considered a generous amount for the project. Michael Jackson considered it barely a starting point. Thriller cost significantly more to produce than what the label had originally planned. The extended recording sessions, the obsessive attention to arrangement, the string sections, the hours of overdubbing Michael pushed every boundary. And at points during that process, he personally advocated for spending that others thought was reckless for an R&B record. Then came the Thriller short film. The 14-minute mini-movie directed by John Landis cost over $500,000 to produce an almost unthinkable sum for a music video in 1983. MTV initially said they wouldn't air a video that long. The label balked at the cost. The conventional wisdom said it was a waste of money. Michael funded it anyway, partially through an arrangement that created the legendary documentary The Making of Thriller, which itself sold over 1 million copies and helped recoup costs. But the real sacrifice wasn't the money, it was the risk. Michael Jackson bet his entire reputation, his commercial momentum, his relationship with his label, his standing in the industry on the belief that music could be more than music, that it could be cinematic, that it deserved the same production investment as a Hollywood film. If Thriller had flopped, that decision would have been called reckless. Because it didn't flop, because it became the best-selling album of all time, it was called genius. The difference between reckless and genius is usually just the outcome. Michael understood that, and he was willing to live with the risk. Number 7. The Beatles' catalogue decision that destroyed a friendship. This is the one that changed music history, and it cost Michael Jackson one of the most important relationships of his life.
Bad thing, but I don't get no loving, and that's no...
In 1985, Michael Jackson purchased ATV Music Publishing, the catalogue that controlled the rights to over 250 Beatles songs for $47.5 million. He had been advised about the opportunity by his attorney John Branca. He studied the catalogue carefully. He made the call. And in doing so, he outbid his friend and collaborator Paul McCartney. McCartney had reportedly told Michael about music publishing as an investment. He'd explained in friendly conversation that owning publishing rights was where the real money lived. Michael listened.
From that night I kissed our love goodbye.
Then he took that advice further than McCartney ever imagined and used it to acquire the one catalogue McCartney wanted most. The friendship fractured.
Blame it on sunshine, don't blame it on the moonlight.
McCartney later described his feelings about the purchase as deeply personal and painful. Michael never publicly showed regret. From a business perspective, the move was extraordinary, one of the most valuable catalogue purchases in music history.
On a boogie, that nasty boogie bugs me.
By the time Sony acquired half of ATV in a joint venture in 1995, the catalogue's value had grown to nearly $1 billion.
Somehow it has struck me, spellbound rhythm gas.
But the financial sacrifice here wasn't just the $47 million, it was the social cost. It was accepting that great business decisions sometimes end great relationships. Michael Jackson chose the catalogue, and that choice echoed for decades through every Beatles song in every commercial, every film, every streaming platform. He paid $47 million and a friendship. He earned a legacy worth billions. That is the arithmetic of sacrifice. Number 6, Neverland, the dream that became a financial black hole. In 1988, Michael Jackson purchased a 2,700-acre property in Los Olivos, California for approximately $19.5 million. He called it Neverland Ranch, and over the next 2 decades, it would consume an almost incomprehensible amount of money. The estate had a private zoo, a full amusement park, a movie theater, a train, a firehouse, a floral clock, and staff that numbered in the dozens at any given time. Annual operating costs have been estimated at anywhere from $5 to $10 million per year. Michael paid for renovations, expansions, and upgrades consistently throughout his ownership. At one point, the estate required a full-time staff of over 100 people. Why? Because Neverland wasn't just a home. It was Michael's attempt to rebuild the childhood he never had, and to create a sanctuary for children who were sick, disadvantaged, or simply in need of joy. He regularly invited terminally ill children to visit at no cost. He opened the property to fan groups. He gave away the experience of Neverland the way other billionaires give away old furniture. The financial sacrifice of Neverland was staggering. By the mid-2000s, Bank of America had extended a $270 million loan secured against the property and other assets. When Michael couldn't make payments during his legal battles, the bank threatened foreclosure. He had to be rescued financially by Colony Capital, which purchased the debt and restructured it. Neverland wasn't a bad investment for a corporation. But for a human being trying to hold on to a dream, it was a financial sacrifice made from the heart. And it nearly broke him completely. Number 5, the legal battle that cost him half a decade and over $50 million. In 1993, Michael Jackson's world collapsed in public. Accusations were made, the criminal investigation began, and the financial consequences were immediate, devastating, and long-lasting.
And I do know that I want you.
Michael's 1993 to 1994 world tour, The Dangerous Tour, was one of the highest-grossing tours of that era. It was cancelled midway through,
Let's dance, let's shout, shake your body down to the ground.
costing tens of millions in projected revenue. Sponsorships evaporated. PepsiCo, which had paid Michael enormously for endorsement deals, quietly stepped back.
And I do know that I want you.
The commercial machine that had been generating enormous wealth for over a decade suddenly went into emergency mode.
Let's dance, let's shout, shake your body down to.
The civil settlement reached in 1994 was reported at approximately $23 million paid to the family of Jordan Chandler to resolve the lawsuit without an admission of guilt. $23 million. Gone. Not earned back. Not recovered through royalties. Simply gone in exchange for the right to move forward. Legal fees compounded this. Michael's criminal defense, which culminated in the 2005 trial that ended in acquittal, cost an estimated $35 million. His personal security operation intensified, adding to ongoing costs. The years between 1993 and 2005 represent a period in which Michael Jackson lost more money through legal exposure than most artists earn in a lifetime. But here's what gets overlooked. During those same years, Michael kept creating High Story, Blood on the Dance Floor, Invincible. He kept spending on music, on production, on videos, on promotion, even while bleeding money through legal channels. He refused to let the accusations stop the art. That refusal was its own kind of sacrifice.
If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update, and the real stories behind the music that built the world we live in. Don't miss the next one. We will see you there. Back to the countdown.
'Cause you do
Number 3. The Invincible disaster and the Sony war in 2001, Michael Jackson released Invincible, his first studio album in 6 years.
Don't try to fight it. Yeah.
The album cost over $30 million to produce. $30 million for a single album.
Ain't nothing that you can do.
And it remains one of the most expensive albums ever recorded in music history. Why so expensive?
Relax your mind.
Because Michael was a perfectionist who had been away from the studio for years and was determined to come back with something definitive.
Lay back and groove with mine.
He recorded with dozens of producers. He scrapped sessions. He re-recorded. He paid for the best of everything because in his mind,
You gotta feel that heat, and we can ride the
his legacy demanded nothing less. The album debuted at number 1. It sold millions of copies. By most standards, it was a success.
boogie. Share that beat of love.
But by the standards Michael and Sony had set, and given the extraordinary production, cost the album underperformed commercially.
Love survive, so we can.
And the relationship between Michael and Sony CEO Tommy Mottola exploded publicly. Michael held a rally outside Sony headquarters.
Out on the floor.
He called Mottola a racist and accused the label of sabotaging Invincible's promotion. The battle became public, ugly, and damaging to Michael's commercial standing. Whatever the truth of his accusations,
There ain't nobody there but us.
the optics of a superstar publicly warring with his label cost him dearly in industry relationships and future opportunities. He never released another studio album with Sony.
Girl, when you dance.
He never released another studio album at all in his lifetime. Michael held a rally outside Sony headquarters and called Mottola a racist in public. The fallout closed a chapter that never reopened. The $30 million investment in Invincible, the album designed to reclaim his throne, became the closing chapter of his major label story. And what came next was even darker.
If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update, and the real stories behind the music that built the world we live in. Don't miss the next one. We will see you there. Back to the countdown.
Number 2. The mortgage of the Beatles catalogue. We told you about the purchase. Now we have to tell you about what happened to it. Because this is where the story turns from triumph to tragedy. By 2006 and 2007, Michael Jackson's financial situation had deteriorated to a level that was genuinely dangerous. He was living in rented mansions in Bahrain, then Las Vegas. Neverland had been shuttered. His income was inconsistent. And the debt against his assets, particularly against his 50% share of Sony ATV, had grown to hundreds of millions of dollars. He had taken loans using his Sony ATV stake as collateral, multiple loans, from multiple lenders. The interest on those loans compounded relentlessly. By some estimates, Michael owed over $400 million in total debt by 2008, much of it secured against the very catalog he had sacrificed. A friendship to purchase. This is the cruel mathematics of leverage. The asset was worth billions. His stake was worth hundreds of millions. But the debt against it was also enormous, and the interest payments required cash he simply did not have. He was asset rich and cash poor in the most extreme possible way. Owning something worth $1 billion and still not being able to pay your bills is a particular kind of financial purgatory. The This Is It concert series 50 shows at London's O2 Arena was conceived in part as the financial rescue operation. The projected revenue from those shows, which sold out in minutes, was supposed to generate enough cash to stabilize his situation and begin paying down his debt. He was going to perform his way out of a financial crisis entirely of his own making, created by the weight of sacrifices stacked one on top of another over 30 years. The debt against his Sony ATV share had grown to hundreds of millions by 2008. He was trapped inside the very empire he had built, and the only exit he could see 50 nights on a London stage was about to cost him everything he had left. Number 1. The Ultimate Sacrifice. His life for his legacy on June 25, 2009. Michael Jackson died of acute propofol intoxication, administered by his personal physician Conrad Murray, who was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter. But to understand why Michael Jackson was in the condition he was in, physically depleted, dependent on sedatives, pushing through rehearsals for a show that terrified him, you have to understand the financial pressure he was living under. The This Is It concerts weren't just a comeback, they were a necessity. AEG Live, which had promoted the tour, had invested tens of millions in production costs and advanced ticket revenue. Michael had contractual obligations. His management had obligations. The entire financial architecture of his survival in 2009 was built around those 50 shows. He was 50 years old. He'd been in some form of performance mode since he was 5. His body was not what it had been. Rehearsal footage later released as the documentary This Is It shows a man who was both undeniably still gifted and visibly exhausted. People close to him said he feared he couldn't physically deliver what he had promised. The pressure to deliver was enormous. And in the context of that pressure, he was using propofol and anesthetic simply to sleep. He never made it to the stage. 50 sold-out shows at London's O2 Arena were supposed to rescue his finances. He never made it to the stage, and in death, Michael Jackson became more financially powerful than he had ever been in life, earning over $1 billion for his estate within 12 months of his passing. Within 12 months of his passing, his estate had earned over $1 billion. The Sony ATV catalog, which had been a source of crippling debt pressure, was ultimately sold for $750 million, with proceeds flowing to his estate. His music streamed billions of times. His documentaries, his films, his catalog, everything increased in value the moment he was gone. The financial sacrifices he made throughout his life, the childhoods surrendered, the friendships fractured, the estate mortgaged, the lawsuits weathered, the $30 million albums, the catalog purchased and then partially surrendered, all of it built a legacy so enormous that it could only be fully understood in his absence. Michael Jackson gave everything, and the world didn't give it back until it was too late for him to enjoy it.
If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And the real stories behind the music that built the world we live in. Don't miss the next one. We will see you there.